this moment exposed to some even caught us by surprise. Here it is again, slowed down. As Beyoncé sits down with Molly Meldrum, her dress folds. That crease caused a whirl.
Using a surrogate because she didn't want to put her body through the strap.
Shortly after giving birth, Cathy died mysteriously in her apartment of a brain aneurysm. Speculating that Beyoncé had Cathy White killed after Cathy White had the baby and claimed the baby as her own, and that baby is Blue Ivy.
You might want to sit down for this one, because one of the most uncomfortable celebrity theories the internet ever whispered about just got dragged back into the light, and this time it wasn't a random conspiracy account or a forgotten blog post doing the dragging, it was Nicki Minaj. And when Nicki decides to point people in a certain direction, especially without saying much at all, it's never accidental, it's strategic, it's deliberate, and it immediately sends fans, critics, and longtime internet detectives straight back into the archives. And the name that suddenly started trending again was Cathy White, a name that has quietly lingered on the edges of the Beyoncé and Jay-Z timeline for years, rarely spoken aloud but never fully erased. And when Nicki posted those now viral words, "Say her name," people didn't just ask who she meant, they already knew. Because Cathy White has been the center of one of the most persistent online theories connected to the phrase, Becky with the good hair. And before we get into everything that people are digging up again, make sure you like the video, subscribe, and turn notifications on, because this story keeps resurfacing every time the industry power balance starts to shift. And right now, it's shifting fast.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died of an imaginary aneurysm.
For years, Cathy White was rumored online to have been involved with Jay-Z, a claim that circulated heavily through gossip blogs and insider-style posts in the late 2000s and early 2010 seconds, never confirmed publicly, but repeated often enough that it became a fixed part of celebrity rumor culture. And when Cathy suddenly passed away in 2011, the explanation that circulated was a brain aneurysm, a tragic and sudden cause that many accepted without question, while others immediately felt something didn't sit right, not because aneurysms don't happen, but because of timing, context, and what was allegedly unfolding behind the scenes at the same moment, with archived blog articles claiming Cathy had recently been contacted by tabloids, had knowledge people wanted, and was allegedly considering going public, and then suddenly she was gone, a sequence that has fueled speculation for over a decade. What locked this story into internet folklore wasn't just her death, though. It was the overlap with Beyoncé's pregnancy announcement and the birth of Blue Ivy, a period that was already under intense scrutiny after that infamous interview clip went viral, showing Beyoncé sitting down and her dress folding in a way many viewers interpreted as her baby bump collapsing, something defenders insisted was simply fabric behavior and camera angles, while skeptics saw it as evidence of something being concealed. And from that moment on, theories exploded, ranging from surrogacy speculation to much darker narratives that attempted to connect Cathy White to the situation entirely. Those theories never disappeared, they just went quiet, resurfacing whenever Beyoncé released deeply emotional music, especially Lemonade, an album widely viewed as an exploration of betrayal, infidelity, and personal reckoning. And fans began dissecting lyrics line by line, convinced certain songs weren't just artistic metaphors, but coded storytelling, with particular focus on lyrics involving confrontation, rage, and imagined violence toward a rival.
Allegedly, the song Daughter on Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter album, it's potentially a murder confession about Jay-Z's mistress, Cathy White. Buckle up. On August 28, 2011, Beyoncé announced her pregnancy at the MTV VMAs. On January 7th, 2012, Blue Ivy was born into this world. In 2016, Beyoncé dropped Lemonade. Now, as we all know, Lemonade was a true album about infidelity. Jay-Z was rumored to have a very long-time mistress. People knew of Cathy White because of Jay-Z, okay? So here's where it gets a little crazy. Cathy White was known to be pregnant in 2011. Shortly after giving birth, Cathy died mysteriously in her apartment of a brain aneurysm.
I have a feeling this is related.
Now, even though we saw Beyoncé's bump publicly, there's a video of Beyoncé sitting down for an interview and her whole stomach just deflates in the video, and it's very weird.
This is crazy.
If you listen to Daughter, the song completely illustrates a confession. The lyrics in the song say, "Your body laid out on these filthy floors, your bloodstains on my custom coutures, Bathroom attendant let me right in. She was a big fan. I tried to stay cool, but your arrogance disturbed my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do. So fans are speculating that Beyoncé had Cathy White kissed after Cathy White had the baby and claimed the baby as her own, and that baby is Blue Ivy.
Which some listeners interpreted as symbolic confession, while others dismissed as exaggerated art. But either way, the discussion never fully died. What changed everything recently was Nicki Minaj choosing to reopen the conversation without explaining herself, because Nicki hasn't been subtle over the years. When it comes to calling out industry power, especially Jay-Z, whom she has accused repeatedly of trying to damage her career and cost her massive amounts of money. And while Beyoncé had mostly stayed out of Nicki's direct line of fire, that shifted the moment Cathy White's name was put back into circulation, and people immediately noticed Nicki didn't accuse, didn't clarify, didn't elaborate. She simply pointed. And in celebrity culture, pointing can be louder than shouting, especially when other figures like Jaguar Wright had already been making explosive claims for months, leading many to believe Nicki waited until the ground was already cracked before stepping on it. Once Nicki's posts went live, the internet did what it always does. It dug up everything, including old Hollywood Street King articles that claimed Cathy White's death was considered suspicious at the time, pending toxicology reports, posts that many dismissed years ago but are now being reread with fresh eyes, along with timelines that place Cathy's reported death uncomfortably close to major public milestones in Beyoncé's life. And while none of this has ever been proven, the consistency of the speculation is what keeps drawing people back. Fans also began revisiting Beyoncé's catalog again, not just Lemonade, but deeper cuts and later releases.
Music, it doesn't mean that I rock with the person or whatever. Like, I really want y'all to notice. I hate to have to say this. What we doing? Like, are we rocking with, or we ain't rocking with and that's why I love them. That's why I love y'all. But, so I just wanted to make that disclaimer. So everybody know from now till whenever, okay? Just because I play a song that I happen to be featured on, don't mean see my machine kicking right in my throat.
Searching for lines that could be interpreted as confessional, threatening, or symbolic, including spoken word pieces and aggressive imagery that some listeners believe reveal a darker emotional reality behind the polished public image, while others argue it's simply theatrical storytelling designed to provoke reaction, and yet even that debate feeds the theory rather than killing it. The situation escalated further when people believed Beyoncé's family members appeared to respond indirectly online, posting messages that fans interpreted as dismissive, defensive, or even intimidating, which only added fuel to the fire, because in internet culture, silence can look like guilt, and vague responses can look like confirmation, even when neither is actually true. Meanwhile, Nicki continued posting cryptically, never spelling anything out, never denying anything either, just enough to keep the conversation alive, and people began asking the question that matters most in situations like this: why now? Why reopen this after all these years? And why use Cathy White's name specifically, especially when Nicki has been sitting on industry grievances for a long time? Some believe Nicki is retaliating against a power structure she feels wronged her. Others believe she's aligning herself with a broader wave of truth-tellers who feel untouchable figures are no longer untouchable, and others think she's simply forcing uncomfortable conversations back into the mainstream, knowing full well the internet will do the rest of the work. As the discussion spread, comments flooded in from people claiming the story never made sense to them from the beginning, others insisting everything has logical explanations, and the theories are disrespectful, and still others saying the consistency of the rumors across years, platforms, and communities is what makes them impossible to ignore, because even when details differ, the core narrative stays the same, and that's what keeps pulling people back in. Now, more than a decade later, the Becky theory is trending again. Cathy White's name is circulating again, and the same questions that were never answered back then are being asked louder than ever, not because there's new evidence, but because there's renewed attention. And in celebrity culture, attention is the most dangerous thing of all, because once a story is back in motion, it doesn't matter how long it's been buried, it starts rewriting perception in real time. whether you believe Nicki knows more than she's saying, whether you think she's stirring chaos intentionally, or whether you believe the entire thing is an internet myth that refuses to die, one thing is undeniable. This story keeps coming back, and every time it does, it gets bigger, darker, and more complicated. And now the question isn't just what people believe about Cathy White, Beyoncé, or Jay-Z. The real question is why the industry never managed to fully close this chapter, and why Nicki Minaj chose this moment to remind everyone that it was never really closed at all. And what makes this whole situation even harder to ignore is that stories like this don't usually survive this long unless they tap into something deeper than gossip, because celebrity rumors come and go every single week, but this one has stretched across years, albums, beefs, and shifting industry alliances, resurfacing whenever power dynamics change, or someone with proximity decides to poke the hornet's nest, and Nicki doing it now feels intentional in a way people can't brush off easily, especially when so many fans believe she's no longer afraid of burning bridges that were already on fire. And whether you think she's telling a hidden truth, settling old scores, or simply letting the internet do what it does best, her timing alone guarantees that Cathy White's name isn't fading quietly again anytime soon. The internet doesn't need proof to keep a story alive. It needs curiosity, silence, and unanswered questions. And this situation has all three, which is why people are revisiting everything with fresh eyes, rewatching old clips, rereading old lyrics, and questioning moments that once seemed insignificant. Because once doubt creeps in, perception changes forever. And in an industry built on image, perception is everything. So the real takeaway here isn't about deciding what's true or false. It's about recognizing why this story refuses to die, why it keeps resurfacing when certain people speak up, and why no amount of time has been able to bury it completely. Because whether you believe the Becky theory or not, the fact that it still sparks this level of reaction says more about the industry than it does about any single person involved.